session.
What is up, everybody? Welcome to The Closing Pitch. My name is Spiker Helms, and this is a show about culture, people, and how to create a winning lifestyle. Today, we went to the social media feeds and picked out 3 great questions that we saw in Facebook groups, and I think this is going to be a very interesting conversation. I want to welcome in my co-host, David Birkby. How's it going?
Good. How we doing?
Doing well. This is going to be a great topic. I think we got three awesome questions. One is going to obviously be about the COVID-19 situation with training, and then we're going to jump into what makes you qualified, and then the last one is talking about teams, culture. Should I stay with a team? So without further ado, let's jump into the first question. First question is, what type of home workouts is your son going to be going through? I would actually put that as what type of home workouts is that grammar?
I don't think that grammar's right, but
anyways,
I'm not good with grammar.
What type of workouts would you recommend to a player right now dealing with the COVID-19 situation?
Well, I mean, let's preface it with this. We're all at home now, basically. I mean, there's no baseball. There's no games in college, professional, youth, high school. I mean, right now, theoretically, I think the high school season should have been starting right now. Players would have been playing, 6 days a week, off on Sundays, right? Youth players would be playing every weekend. So you go from being full tilt to having nothing, like nothing to do. So what are you doing right now to, one, stay in shape throughout the whole winter that you built up this whole winter? You threw bullpens, you hit, you worked out, you got to a point where you were ready to go, and now you're shut down.
Yeah.
What do you do?
It's tough. It's very, very tough. I'm glad I'm not a player right now, just because of if I was a young player, I don't think I would be totally in the mindset of working out on my own, because I just think the game is built around a team atmosphere when you're young and having fun and really enjoying yourself. I know, kind of thinking back with my dad and going to training sessions, like I didn't really enjoy it when it was just myself.
Yeah.
But as I got older, like a college guy, it's pretty simple. I just got to get better. I got to get
right.
I got to find a cage, go work out. If it's cold, I'm going to go work out. If it's raining, I'm going to go work out. If it's snowing, I'm going to go work out. If it's a freaking hurricane, I'm out there. So, but for those young guys, I mean, it's tough. I mean, I can only imagine what a parent's dealing with right now, being cooped up with the kids and trying to do their own work while trying to keep their kids entertained, because, I mean, kids don't understand the situation at how big of a situation this is. So I guess to give you some practical advice, I think you have to find things that are fun for them. Drill sets. I know that there are a lot of internet guys right now that are sending out material to help players get better. I actually would take the route of trying to make games out of it. How do you make the player do the workouts but have fun at the same time?
Yeah, I mean, listen, if I were a player, as bad as this sounds, I'd look at it as an opportunity, because that your peers, and I had a conversation with a player about this yesterday, your peers, for most, I'd probably say 80-ish%, if not more, are doing nothing. I mean, they're absolutely doing nothing. So right now is an opportunity for guys to just soar past their competition if they want to. Now, how do they do that? I mean, in-home workouts. I mean, you can look up on YouTube a million workouts to stay strong, stay fit. I mean, those are popping up on my Facebook page.
Well, one thing that a lot of people are not thinking about is one-on-one instruction hasn't been banned yet. I think in certain areas, obviously, New York is not in a good situation. Boston's not in a good situation. But, I mean, relatively speaking, majority of the country, San Fran, but majority of the country, you can go to one-on-one instruction. You're not in an area where there's 10 or more people or 20 more people. Like, if you can go to one-on-one instruction, even contacting your instructor, I bet you the instructor would jump all over that and say, hey, I have a net in my garage. Yeah. Would you want to come over and give give our son a lesson or our daughter a lesson.
Yeah,
I think they would jump all over that.
Obviously, first and foremost, be safe. That's the key,
that's
of course.
Numero uno, obviously.
But yeah, of course. But just even again, if you're at home, having no contact with a coach, you can always call him and ask him what to do, which I totally recommend you guys doing.
Mm-hmm.
I totally recommend you reaching out to your coaches, your hitting instructors, your summer coaches, etc. Communicate. Ask them, what should I be doing? But simply getting into a better catch routine, staying with your stretching, your workouts, if you can hit into a net, great. If you're even doing dry swings, great. Anything helps, right?
Mm-hmm. Yep. Guys, just a quick FYI, where we do this podcast, if you see it on video, we're actually in our facility, and our facility is actually in a factory-type setting. So if you hear any buzzing or sounds like that, just know that we are in the midst of our training facility. We're not those guys that have the soundproof room and make it sound all crispy and clean and go in that direction.
Maybe in another year.
We'll see what happens. But we just feel like we just need to get some information out. Let's move on to the next question. I think we've gotten to that answer. There's only so much that we can answer on that. Next question. Just because you played minor league baseball or in the MLB, does that make you a good coach? I see too many parents letting their kids get dogged out by these so-called coaches. You might have been a professional player, but does that make you a qualified coach? Sorry, I'm struggling. I'm not the best at grammar, so I understand when you're emotional and you're typing. I get it. But the question is does it really make you qualified?
Well, I think it can.
Yeah.
I also think that it can't. But I played college baseball. You played professionally. Just because I played college baseball, does that make me qualified? Right? Personally, I think it's this. I've seen a lot of guys who were very talented, and they couldn't tell you how they did it. Now, some could. Some absolutely could, because they were just students of the game. They were always after information. But then some guys were just uber talented. Like, they could show up, close their eyes, still hit a baseball 300 feet. You know what I mean? So that's a tough answer or question to answer, because I think the situations all are different.
I think if you look at any other industry, like if you get a doctorate degree or if you get a master's degree, that doesn't mean that you're totally qualified. It doesn't mean that you're still selling that person.
You might know the information.
You might know the information, but you just
don't know how to translate it.
Yeah, you don't know how to deliver it. Like, if you look at any industry, like there's the top doctors and then there's the bottom half doctors. And you have to consider that too. So I think it has to deal with the customer. The customer has to know, like, do you feel comfortable with that instructor? Do you think that person really knows what they're talking about?
Well, and I'd look at experienced guys. I'll take myself. I'm in my 10th year of coaching now, and when I look back myself in my second year, I'm a totally different guy. Just because I've learned, I've evolved, I've listened to guys who are better than me. I was lucky enough to coach with a guy who knew his stuff really in and out, and I've learned, I've listened, I've kept my ears open. So when thinking about, is this coach qualified to coach my son or is he not? Start looking at his experience, start looking at his track record, start looking at how his players do, how his teams do. For a club coach perspective, look at how that club is. Have they pushed guys on? Have they moved them forward?
That's why testimonials. It's the same thing. It's selling and marketing, and it's the same with internet gurus out there. Like scrolling through the Facebook groups, you can tell who's got their stuff together and who doesn't have their stuff together.
Oh, yeah.
And I hope people can see through that stuff.
Yeah.
Because you can know when a guy is teaching something and he's having results. I think part of it, especially on the internet, you have to look at what are the testimonials? Has anyone really tested their product? Have they gotten the information and succeeded? If it's a product that you're buying, if it's not a gimmick, has someone found it to be successful? Like here's an example. Blast motion. I'm a huge advocate of blast motion. I think it's one of the best tools that a player could buy right now at a very cost-effective rate. That is not a gimmick. That's coming from a professional source from the Tigers, putting their brand right behind that brand and saying, this is an awesome product. So I would look at that too for your coaches. Who's backing that coach? If he's off on his own, really do your homework on it. If he's backed by an organization, that's going to give you a little bit more confidence in what he's teaching.
I mean, you said it right there. Do your homework. It's really that simple. No matter if it's a professional, ex-professional, ex-college, club, whatever, do your homework. It's really that simple. Don't just make a rash decision based on one guy selling you.
Here's another example, and I'm going to leave it off with this example. At our facility, I would say about 2 years ago, we had a guy that didn't play an ounce of college baseball, and he barely played in high school. But he was the best instructor in this facility by far, and how he was able to connect with players, and he always was learning and trying to advance his skills. He got so good at what he was teaching, he actually worked with a number of major leaguers in the off season and helped them. A lot of major leaguers that you've heard of, brand names that your probably your son or daughter knows, and he worked with those guys. So it doesn't matter if you played at the University of Southern California or you played 13 years with the Pittsburgh Pirates. Teaching is teaching. There's good teachers, and then there's just players. So I would also think about it that way. Go after the teachers, not the ones that hit a whole bunch of home runs and had a lot of success on the field, because that doesn't tell you if they're going to be able to transfer that information, and your son or daughter is going to be able to consume that information correctly.
Exactly. See ball, hit ball isn't the easiest thing to do.
Yeah, I know. I mean, my junior college coach, I didn't know this until I graduated. He didn't really share it, and he never played baseball.
Oh, really? I didn't know that.
I think he played Little League. I think he played Little League, but he didn't play college baseball. He actually was going in school.
Probably one of the best junior college guys around.
Yeah, and then went to the University of Missouri, and then begged to be on the team, to help out with the team, and then they gave him a shot, and next thing you know, he ends up winning a national championship for junior college. Isn't that crazy?
Incredible. That's incredible.
So,
but he just wanted to learn.
Yeah, I know. All right, let's jump into the last question. Last question is, what would you do? We were recently approached by a well-known team in our area asking if our son could be interested in joining their roster. Although we are committed to a different team for the season, they have lost a player for whatever reason and need to fill the position. Now, I know with the current COVID-19 issue, the upcoming season is to be determined, but we still need to think this through because they extended their offer to him for next season as well. This is our first season with the team we are currently committed to, and me being honest, we have questioned just how well they will do. There are a lot of components to this whole situation, and I'm not going to write a novel to explain, but really, what would you do? What factors would you put into your decision-making process? How would you handle the situation if it were yours?
Well, let's take COVID-19 out of this equation. Because
yeah.
Honestly, I think the root of this question and why this person is asking it, take this out of it, okay? What I would start with is, why are you on your current team in the first place? Why did you decide to be there? Was it the coaching? Is it, maybe it's your son's friends? Good training? Good games? Are they scheduled to play in a great league that's going to challenge your son and the team? I mean, why in the first place did you choose this team? Because if you answer all those questions in a positive manner, then why would you even think about leaving? I mean, that's what I would not understand. Because it sounds like this person has that FOMO going on, that fear of missing out. Mm-hmm. And like I see it in recruiting all the time. It's like, you're dead set on this one university. I'm about ready to go. I'm ready to sign. And then someone else comes in. You're like, oh, new guy, new team, new coach, new university. Uh-oh, what should I do?
I'm a big person on commitment. And when you go to the tryout, you end up trying out, and then they end up giving you a spot, and then you accept. You orally say, I'm going to be on that team. You don't sign anything or anything like that. I think you commit for that full year. Once you make that commitment, you commit for 365 days. Then you can reevaluate and then make another decision. Because one, the coach is relying on you. They've made a commitment to you, and then you've made a commitment to them. So if you end up backing out, you're putting them in a bad spot. So that's not a great situation. And honestly, if you are looking to make sure that your reputation is intact, I think that's going to hurt your reputation, just personally. People are going to view you differently, and you never know where you're going to run into those people in the future. So I think commitment is a huge thing, and every time that I've gone towards the commitment route, things have really worked out. If I end up backing out at the last minute, everything has kind of been in a bad situation for me and for the other party. So my recommendation is to stick with that team, even though it might not seem as promising, or maybe there's a national club that comes in and then they say, hey, we really would love to have you. I would be very cautious on taking that. I would say, you know what? I really appreciate the offer. Thank you so much. We would love to look at it at tryouts this upcoming year.
Yeah, and I mean, I'm in total agreement with you. And this is the way I would approach it. What precedents are you setting and telling your son that if he has committed to a team all year leading up to the season, which theoretically should be starting right now, and then you say it's okay to just jump ship to something that is presumably better, because what do you think that other coach is going to sell?
What's the long-term impact on that?
I mean, for me, it's telling your son that it's okay to just up and quit anything.
That's not a good situation. I mean, if you think about the long-term impact, it's a no-brainer. It's a no-brainer.
Yeah.
For me, I'm like, if I'm teaching him to do this, that's not good.
Because, I mean, yeah, what's going to happen? What if he doesn't like his school? Is he just going to leave? What if he doesn't like a teacher? Is he just going to leave? I mean, what are you setting?
I think it comes down to this, is that you have to set, all right, once I make this commitment, I'm giving it 365 days, or give it whatever time frame you want to give. And then from there, then you can reevaluate, and then you could go to a different situation.
And that's totally fair.
It goes down to that route. It's like, well, the whole thing is I never quit. I don't agree with that either. Yeah. It's like dancing. You got to know when to put the right step forward and when to not put the right step forward.
Well, and listen, coming from a guy, me and you, we run a club, right? If after that season you come up to us and say, listen, you did not fulfill your promises on X, Y, and Z like you had said, so we have made the decision to leave your club and go search for another opportunity, then myself as a club director, I need to really take that thing to heart, okay? Mm-hmm. Because I need to change something, because obviously I didn't, right? And I would be totally okay with that, and I would still help that person in that situation. 100%. That's on me. That's how I would view it.
Every time that we get a player, it's like a 1-year contract for me. Like when we get them and they end up saying we're in, you got me for 1 year, and I know that I have this whole year for another at bat. Basically, you tried out for us. Now I'm trying out for you for 1 full year to try to get you back into the club. And obviously you got to play. Hopefully I give you the skill sets to be able to execute that, and then you make the commitment. But again, it's a 1-year contract. I think players should handle that the same ways. If I commit to you, it's a 1-year contract.
Again, why did you commit in the first place? And what has changed? That's what you got to ask in this situation.
If you go long-term and they end up going to the corporate world, and I know this because Shondi's and she places people.
That's his wife, by the way.
And she says that if you're jumping ship every year, it's a big red flag for recruiters. Mm-hmm. Huge red flag. So if you're doing that for club baseball, and then your son or daughter ends up doing that in their corporate life, they're going to be in a real bad spot. And then if you add in like student loans and stuff like that, that's a tough deal. If you're not happy with your situation, like how are they going to cope with that?
I mean, I wouldn't be looking at a guy who's had 6 different jobs in the last 6 years. I mean, that stands out to me.
Yep. Guys, that's the episode. For the closing pitch, my closing pitch is pretty simple. I know we tackled three awesome questions. I think the biggest one was that last one, is that understand the long-term benefits and negatives when you're approaching a situation. A lot of people think short term. Long term is always the right way of thinking. Short term, yeah, you might lose a little bit, but you're going to gain a lot in the long run. So that's my closing pitch.
My closing pitch is this simple. In all three of these situations, I would recommend do your homework, do your due diligence. Make sure you have enough information in front of you to make a qualified decision. It is that simple.
What is your closing pitch? We want to hear from you. We use a podcasting app called Anchor where you can actually submit your audio. If you do not want to submit audio and you like written word a lot better, you can post in the comments or send us a DM. Just got to give us an A-OK to use your verbiage and your words. And we are looking forward to hearing what you guys have to say.
Absolutely. Looking forward to it.
Thanks, guys. Thank you for watching or listening or both to The Closing Pitch. If you would like to get your closing pitch featured on the show, we use a podcasting app called Anchor where you can submit your statement or question via audio. Or what you can do is comment in the comment section of this post. We also accept direct messages. Please give us the A-OK if you do send us a DM to use your statement or question on the show. Last thing, please give us a review on your platform of choice. 5-star preferably, and we value your opinion, and this allows us to reach more people. Thank you for listening, and we will catch you in the next episode.